Hi, I'm Jim Spione.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Sorry I'm late. The thing about independent filmmakers is we still have day jobs, a lot of us, and so between that and the fun New York traffic, I was a little bit late for the event. I've been making movies quite a long time. Started out, I went to film school, and then I did a number of fiction films, and then the last 10 years or so really got involved in documentary, but really all of them were kind of small scale, looking at regional history things. I did a film about my family's dairy farm in upstate New York, and I'm working on a series of films now down on the eastern shore of Virginia about some of the traditions there. So I haven't really done a so-called political film, even though I certainly have a lot of opinions in that way. I think a lot of my friends wonder why I haven't done a political film. But then this whole thing happened about a year ago with WikiLeaks releasing this video, and of course, at first I was just completely horrified, like a lot of people were, in watching that video. And then the second thing that happened was I watched how the media treated that video, the mainstream media for the most part, and I found it was pretty much the same on every channel. Didn't matter what it was, whether it was Fox or ABC News or CNN or CBS or MSNBC. It really didn't matter. It was the same on every channel, which was let's find two people with opinions we know in advance, and we'll have them argue about this, and they'll say things that we already know they're going to say. And then we'll say that we were journalists and we did our job. And it's bullshit, really. And because it's this fake kind of theatrical debate that gets set up that's totally circumscribed in advance and then cut to the commercial. And so that was depressing. But at the same time, I saw this little ray of hope, and I was, trolling around the internet just trying to find information on this, and I found an interview with Ethan. A few websites were doing interviews with him, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Here's a guy who was actually on the scene. Why hasn't CBS or MSNBC or ABC or any of these people with a lot more resources than me sent someone out to Wichita to talk to this guy? I'll tell you why, because it doesn't fit the script. We can't have people who have been there actually telling you what actually happened. That won't do it all. People will have to start listening to that and making up their own minds and stuff like that. No. So, I was the guy. I flew out about a month after that, and I think it was May of last year, and spent a couple days in Wichita with Ethan, and met his sweet kids, and we did a lot of shooting of just stuff that Ethan was doing with the kids and stuff, and then we did a very extensive interview. Really, I think with 3 or 4 hours, that interview, and of course a fraction of that's in the movie, and that's normal. But and I just thought it was an amazing story. First of all, this first-hand account of what we weren't really getting the whole picture of, but also for me as a filmmaker. I was really attracted to Ethan's story as like a character because it's a great American story in a way. It's a transformational story, and we Americans love those stories. So he starts out as this one kind of guy who's expecting this one thing, and he's in it for these very kind of patriotic reasons of wanting to do what's right and wanting to defend what he thinks has been told, defend Iraqis and finding an entirely different picture when he arrives there, and he's really struggling to put that together. And I think the film that I made really charts Ethan's journey, not just with this so-called Collateral Murder incident, but also the other things that happened to him along the way. I mean, the way I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the incident that day in July with the Apache helicopters, I think was the straw that broke the camel's back in a way. I think Ethan had already seen a lot, and he had already been through a lot, and he had already seen a lot, and this was sort of like, okay, this is really the thing that sort of was the thing that changed him, I think, permanently in a way. And but it took time, and I think, Ethan in a lot of ways was trying to not deal with it, or to deal with it in different ways that weren't necessarily healthy, like a lot of veterans do. And so in a way it was a double-edged thing. I think when this Collateral Murder thing came out, I mean, the thing he told me is like, at first you were just completely enraged, and like you didn't want to deal with this at all, and here it was again. And of course, to his great credit, he found the courage to really confront this and start talking about it, and found that people really wanted to listen to him. And so, I mean, all that to me is just an extraordinary story about one guy that also touches on this kind of amazing world event that we were all witness to. So that's a long answer to your question of why I wanted to make this movie.
It's a good answer.
With Ethan. What I hope to do eventually is actually make a longer film about this incident, because what I really would like to do is look at it from a number of points of view from people who were involved. Of course, importantly, including Iraqis who were most affected by what happened in that particular incident. But also, I would like to include dissenting points of view from people that are even within your company. So I think, for me, the fascinating thing about this whole, one of the things, if I step back from the horror of it, it's a really perfect microcosm of what that war is and was. Fighting against, as you've put it, people in sweatpants and sandals, and not being able to tell who might be dangerous to our forces, and so that whole confusion, and then from the Iraqi side, just trying to live a normal life in what is your city. And of course the preponderance of the casualties are going to be civilians, as they are in that incident. And so the whole thing offers an opportunity to look at one incident and kind of extrapolate from that what these wars really are. As I say, I think on my website, you can spout statistics about hundreds of thousands of dead, but people can't absorb that kind of thing. But my thought was, if I could explore this one tragic incident from as many perspectives as I can, hopefully what you come away from with that is how tragic times thousands something like the Iraq War is. So. My hope is that by getting attention at this film festival this week, that it will help me develop it into a larger project that can continue to kind of expand on the story and get this out there to more and more people.